So here's some data about a job that someone has and how many years they worked and their income or their salary for that year. So here's after 1 year they earned $45,000. After 2 years, $46,814, and they have all the way up till 8 years. They're earning $62,785 a year. So they want to go to their boss and they want to kind of talk about potentially getting a raise. Instead of raising how much they have been, they want to try to raise a little bit more. So the first thing that this person did was plot the data. And you can see it's not a perfect straight line, but there's kind of a positive linear association. So they drew a line to fit through there. So you can kind of predict the future, right? Kind of continue that line to see what would happen next, and how much they could earn after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line. Now, of course, the graph doesn't go that far. So what he wanted to do was create an equation, because the equation would tell you the same thing as the graph, except um, you could uh, predict the future and you wouldn't need a larger graph. So the first thing they did is they wanted the slope. How much does it rise and run? Slope is rise over run. So they found 2 points on the line, not necessarily data points, but 2 points on the line they drew. So the first point was down here. After about 1 year, he was earning about $45,000. After 8 years, $62,500 about. Then he found the y-intercept. If you continue the line back here at year 0, what would he have been earning? So before he even started, what was the contract for? So again, the 2 points that he had was this. He subtracted the y values and did 62,500 minus 45,000. The years, 8 years minus 1 year. And it turns out that he increased $17,500 over 7 years. He divided that and found out it's about $2,500 per year. So he increased $2,500 every year that he worked. That is what the slope is. And what does that mean? It means he increased about $2,500 in salary every year he worked. And that's what he wants to make bigger. His y-intercept right here is about 0.41,000, meaning that before he started working, he must have signed a contract that pays him about $41,000. So before he started working, the first official contract was $41,000, and then it went up about $2,500 every year. So how would you write that equation? It would be about y equals 2,500 times x for every year that he works, plus the 41,000 that he got at the start. Now, what does x and y stand for? X is how many years you work. Y is how much you earn after that many years of working, which makes sense on the graph. X is years of work, Y is salary. So how can you use this to predict the future? Well, let's say I wanted to know how much I would earn after 5 years of working. Well, you would plug in 5 for X, then you would follow order of operations and multiply it by 2,500, and you would get 12,500. That means you increase $12,500 in 5 years. Then you would add the 41,000 that you started with, and that means your salary is about $53,500 after 5 years of working. Well, what if we wanted to predict after 10 years, what can I expect my salary to be? Well, what would you do with 10? You would plug in 10 for X, because X is the number of years worked. Then you would follow order of operations. 10 times 2,500 is about 25,000. Then you add, that means you increase 25,000 from what you started at, which is the 41,000. You add those together and you get about $66,000 in salary after 10 years of working. So that's what you can expect your salary to be after 10 years. What if you wanted to go further? What if you wanted to work 20 years and you wanted to tell your boss, hey, after 20 years, this is what I think I would be earning, and maybe that's not enough. So you do the math and you would plug in, never say do the math, but you would plug in 20 for X, because X is number of years worked, times 2,500, which is 50,000. That means you're going to increase your salary by $50,000 over 20 years, plus the 41,000 that you started with. That means you're earning about $91,000 in salary after 20 years. And you could tell your boss, hey, you know what? based on this, I'm only going to be earning this much after 20 years. I think I should be earning more. And that's, you can make an argument that way. Now it can work the other way too. What if you wanted to kind of set a goal for yourself and find out when will you be earning $50,000 in salary? Well, this time you would plug in 50,000 for Y, because now you're trying to find out how many years. X is the unknown, and the known is how much you'd be earning in salary. Well, now you got a two-step equation. Well, hopefully you know that the first step is you would just subtract 41,000 from both sides, and you get 9,000 equals 2,500x. That means you're basically saying I would have to increase $9,000. Well, how many years would it take me to increase 9,000? Well, you divide by 2,500 because you increase 2,500 per year. You do that in a calculator, and you get about 3.6. X equals 3.6, because 9,000 divided by 2,500 is about 3.6. So that means after about 3 or 4 years, 3.6 is between 3 and 4, of years of working, you would be earning about $50,000 in salary. What if you wanted to know when you would make $100,000? Well, again, this time you would plug in 100,000 for Y. You would plug in 100,000 for Y because Y is the salary. Now, again, I have a two-step equation because X is the unknown. Well, first you subtract 41,000 from both sides to see how much you would have to increase. Well, 100,000 minus 41,000 is $59,000. So you would have to increase $59,000 in salary from your base salary. And if you earn 2,500 a year, how many years would that take? Well, you divide both sides by 2,500, and it's about 23.6. So you would have to increase $2,500 23.6 times. In other words, after about 23 or 24 years of working, that's when you'll be earning $170,000 in salary. Now you might say, you know what? I'm expecting to earn $175,000 because that's what I think I deserve. Well, based on this pace, how long would it take me to earn $175,000? You'd go to your boss and plug in 175,000 for Y because that's what you're trying to reach. X is the unknown, trying to find out how many years that would take. Well, first you subtract 41,000 from both sides and realize you have to increase $134,000 in salary from your original salary. And if you only increase 2,500 a year, you could divide both sides by 2,500, and it turns out that's 53.6. In other words, it would take you 53 or 54 years of working to get to $175,000 in salary. And you might just tell your boss, you know what? I'm never going to work here 53 years, and I deserve 175,000 a lot sooner than that. So we have to increase this number. All right. That's what you could tell your boss.